What's up, guys? It is 9:01 a.m. right now, U.S. Pacific Standard Time here in Los Angeles. It is Tuesday, February 8th, 2022, in the year of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. That's A.D., Anno Domini. I learned recently that it's not Anno Domini unless you are British. And I'm not British, I'm American. British are now foreigners. Actually, mostly Americans are foreigners now, too. What a mess, seemingly. I have some interesting topics to cover. I want to talk about the no-knock warrants in this Amir Locke situation. I talked about it in Hake News yesterday. I want to cover it again. Have some people calling in about it, actually. Some of you are not for that. I want to talk about the a little bit of continued or stuff that I didn't quite get to. Joe Rogan drama, Joe Rogan N-word drama. It's really the vaccine mess too, right? They just want to go after anybody who disagrees and thinks independently, really. So it's pretty pathetic. Trump's put out a nice statement about it. Andrew Yang put out a nice statement and then took it back because he's a coward. And he's lame. Same thing with The Rock. The Rock says. And of course, I have a passage. I don't know why I'm saying of course, but every now and then I have a passage, a Bible passage to share, and I want to share a Bible passage. It was actually referenced in the verse that we mentioned yesterday, 2 Corinthians 4. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. La la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. Mati Och, or Autre, states, M-A-T-I. New word, O-C-H, all caps there in the second word. States it's Anno Domini, actually, or Anno Domini. Domini? I don't know. You just spelled it out, and so it doesn't tell me about the pronunciation. I feel like Jesse Lee and Kickflip Chris trying to decipher what Hake is trying to write when I say, no, it is Stefan. And I type it out. You just spelled the word. But yes, right. A-N-N-O, new word, D-O-M-I-N-I. Right on. How you guys doing? Shout out to the Facebook crew, by the way, and of course Twitch. I am live on Twitch and of course YouTube and Odyssey, odyssey.com/@the-Hake-Report. I will be getting to your super chats. Some of you already gave some super chats. Some of you are already on hold. You can call in 888-775-3773. But quick little announcement. Looks like I will not, but I'm not positive yet. Looks like it's likely canceled, this Saturday's systemic racism debate. You heard about that? You know, I've been all last month, for over a month now, we've been talking about, well, almost over a month. Well, yeah, actually a month ago. Been talking about having a systematic racism. Is systematic racism real debate? On Modern Day Debate. They like me over there at Modern Day Debate, and I like them. James Kuntz runs that channel, and you guys show up, and it's always fun. Some of you, many of you. And I was going to debate against Hunter Avallone, but he kept dodging me. It was scheduled last minute, same day. I'm like, sure, yeah, I can do it. It was a Saturday. I think it was January 8th, if I'm not mistaken. And so I got in the studio. Nicolas set me up on in the studio here. And then Hunter had to bail. Maybe his wife yanked him. He's like, nope, no siree. No, I don't know. And then we scheduled it for MLK Day, Monday the 17th or something like that of January. MLK Day, the day after I returned from Dallas, or almost the day of, that I returned from Dallas, Texas on the Modern Day Debate convention or conference. That would have been cool, although I would have been very tired, so I was happy that was canceled and rescheduled. That wasn't Avallone's fault. That was James Kuntz. He didn't figure in how long of a drive he would have in order to get back home from Dallas. And so I was thankful, actually, that was canceled. So then we postponed to another date, and then February 12th, and that would have been this Saturday. But no, once again, as you know, I think I covered this. Where is Hunter? Where is Hunter now? Not to be confused with Hunter Biden. What's up with the Hunters going missing? No, but Hunter Avallone. I think I told you guys. Oh, yeah, I totally did, because AZZMADOR shared it in a super chat, a longer tweet, wherein he stated last week or so, I am taking a break. It may be a week, it may be a year. Taking a break from social media, mental health debate break. So as you know, if you've been keeping up with what I've been putting out, that is likely canceled. But we'll see, right? Maybe James Kuntz over there at Modern Day Debate will schedule a different person. He was talking about maybe Vouch or something. We'll see. We shall see. I did post in because I had prepped a little bit for the debate. You know, I write something up sometimes. So I posted that in the blog post in my thehakereport.com/appearances. Maybe I'll share it with you maybe I'll share it with you at a later time. Maybe even today, I don't know. So anyway, that's fine. You know what? Let me get right with a first-time caller, Colin from Alaska, Samuel, who wants to talk about the no-knock warrants. Samuel, thanks for calling. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing well as well, thanks.
Am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes.
All right. So I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and I was just kind of curious how you can defend a no-knock warrant, because I think police are humans. They make mistakes. Sometimes they show up to a wrong address. Like in terms like that, you know, our justice system's not perfect. Police aren't perfect.
So is that one of your reasons for opposing no-knock warrants? Is that sometimes police, because they're human beings, they make mistakes, they show up to the wrong address?
Sure. That's just a thought of mine.
Yeah.
Imagine like in Alaska, most people are armed.
And then the no-knock warrant. The no-knock warrant, just to clarify, hold on a minute. The no-knock warrant, just to clarify, means that oftentimes that they break a door, huh? They kick in a door.
So if somebody kicks in a door, first thing you're going to grab is your shotgun, your handgun, you know?
No,
in that kind of case?
No.
In that kind of case, what?
No-knock raids are typically safer than knock-and-announce raids, at least in the case of dealing with violent criminals. We have... I'm
completely in agreement with you. I'm not arguing that.
Yeah. So if they go to an innocent person...
it's not going to be 100% accurate.
I know, but if they go to an innocent person's door, and they kick in his door, I mean, they should have to replace that door, really. Because that's a pretty bad mistake. But that's not an argument against no-knock raids. Some people say that they are unconstitutional.
I'm not saying it's unconstitutional, but in the unlikelihood your family member or somebody were to get shot because they showed up to the wrong address or just one house over, you know, it would be kind of crazy to see something like that happen. So at that point, you would think the police department, the law enforcement department would have to.
I don't see how that's an argument against no-knock raids. Just because they show up to the wrong house sometimes. I don't think. And I don't know how often or rare or if that's ever really happened. Because people were claiming that they went to Breonna Taylor's apartment and that was the wrong house, but that was false. It was the right house. So I think that there's propaganda about that. There are some people who are really hard for the Constitution. They're tough on on behalf of the Constitution. Some of them are libertarians, or should I say law libertarians. And I respect some of the criticisms of police and how they do violate the constitutional rights, but we have by lawless, I mean out of control, especially amongst the blacks and Hispanics society, yeah, where when you're immoral,
I think it's a really big mixture.
Yeah, I know. It's a big mixture. There's some of us who are quite upright. We act better than the police do. And then there's a bunch of us, or I say others, who are not, who are out of control, and you have to deal tough with them. You can't handicap yourself. They're tying one hand, in some cases 2 hands and a foot, behind the backs of the cops and expecting them to deal with some of the craziest, worst criminals, most brazen, out of control. Hake has the worst T-shirts.
Okay, my topic I began with kind of didn't really go anywhere, but I was wondering if, like, you know, police got unions, kind of like school teachers got unions.
Yeah. And
sometimes a police officer could make a really horrendous mistake, and all that gets covered up, and sometimes it takes years to get the evidence out. Yeah. Where a dirty cop got protected, you know, with all that, what's the word? Like
the thin
all that
blue
swamp, all that swamp mess, pretty much, and anything that has something to do with government. You don't know what kind of people you'll get. Like in Alaska, there was some lady that was dealing with OCS with the kids and shit, and she
keep it clean, man.
My language,
yeah.
With the
OCS,
kids,
what's OCS? Child services.
Child services up here,
not good.
And she ended up like within 2 or 3 years, just breaking apart a lot of families, creating false reports, and it took a while of a few big cases to get her she had to resign. She didn't get fired or anything.
But those aren't cops. That's an evil social services.
They're not cops, but I'm saying the government corruption runs through the police officers, through the DAs. Like if one person got charged in 2010, there was one DA, and there's another DA in 2016, and the laws changed. Like the government, this whole corruption.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not guaranteed how you're going to be treated. I don't think it's anything about skin color or anything like that. I just, from what I see, there's so much little weird things with the government. It's just a lot of corruption there, but it was nice talking to you, man.
Yeah, you too. AZZMADOR states in the live chat over on Odyssey, he states, I'm against no-knock raids, these no-knock raids, because a man shouldn't have to worry that if someone breaks into his house at night, that it might be the cops and not a burglar. I can see doing it if you're raiding a crack house or a terrorist cell, but other than that, the police signed up to deal with bad criminals.
I think he's spot on with that.
It shouldn't be just for anybody, that's for sure.
In one of your debates, I think with Dylan Burns, Hippie Round Table, you were like discussing the death penalty and how it should be swift and just.
Right.
And with how much problems we have, you know, with the government, with all this corruption, how it would, man, in today's world, it would be hard to be sure somebody's not motivated from the outside for some reason to have somebody put to death, you know?
I know, but if you look at the people who are fighting against the death penalty, these are some of the worst people, you know?
I'm not fighting against the death
I'm not
penalty.
saying you are. I'm not saying you.
It should be used.
Right. I agree.
Especially with some of these people that can claim insanity over
yeah.
when they do a mass shooting or commit some kind of crazy, heinous, terroristic act. Like those people, you shouldn't have the excuse to just keep appealing and then live out your life in the jail cell costing taxpayers money.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Yeah,
all right,
true.
man. Good luck with the show. I'll keep listening.
Thank you, man. It's good to hear from you, Samuel. Appreciate it. What time is it over there?
Just 1 hour.
Okay.
8:16.
All right. Nice, man.
Yep.
Give me another call sometime.
Okay. Later. Bye.
Bye. If the cops actually upheld their oaths and enforced the law equally and consistently, there wouldn't be all these emboldened criminals that everybody has to deal with that gives the cops the reason to do these no-knock raids. Yeah. Take the politicians out of the law enforcement, right? The phony politicians I'm talking about. Because they have all of this soft-on-crime stuff. What does that even mean, soft-on-crime? I'm quoting or paraphrasing that evil ginger woman, because she's not a redhead. Men are redheads. Jen Psaki. She's an Obama holdover for the sleepy Biden administration. And she's all, what does that even mean, soft-on-crime? You heard that maybe on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. That's right. They don't enforce the laws against Antifa, Black Lives Matter. And when I say they, I mean the politicians as well as the so-called law enforcement. What a mess. Terrible. Hake seems confused today. Okay, so a few super chats right here, guys. One from Venti Soy Latte. Hey, hi, Hake. I want to improve my 10K time. 10K, I think that's like 6 miles, roughly, a little more. As a runner who raced against the best in the world, especially for CIF. That's a California Southern conference area or something, Southern section. What tips do you have for improving running form? Thanks. Well, head up, chest out, hips underneath you, driving straight. And make sure you're forward, not up. Arms driving straight, not to the side for running form. And run faster. Run faster. We had a guy named Albert who ran with us during running times. And he was a few years older than us. He went through to the same high school, and he would always be like, run faster. Nice. I want my Bibby back. Also, women weak in the legs. Get your rest. And women weak in the legs, as Mick told Rocky. I want my Bibby back ribs. Eric Garcetti held his breath to protect Magic Johnson. Eric Garcetti, the mayor of Los Angeles, who took a photo with Magic Johnson, the celebrity, the black celebrity who had AIDS. I don't know if he still has it. I think he beat it. Eric Garcetti could protect the rest of us if he held his breath 10 minutes, says, I want my baby back ribs. Yeah, step down. Let somebody else handle the homelessness mess. I want my Bibby back ribs with another super chat. I once attended a rally for Stacey Abrams. Really? On purpose? It was kind of boring. Nobody wanted to talk about the elephant in the room. You're referring to her? Sorry. Bad Bibby 42 states, I told you that Hunter was such a sissy boy. Is it off grounds to include him with Mark Ruffalo, Anderson Cooper, Justin Trudeau, and Tendaway? Newton's a little group of people who enjoy stuff? I don't know. Yeah, I heard that he used to be a Trump supporter and then he turned liberal. Referring to the guy who may be my opponent in a debate if he ever comes off his break. Bad Bibby 42 states, also, Hake, happy birthday. Hakeomania is running wild, brother. Also, I recommend Angela Stout Stab to put the bottle down. Day drinking in the middle of the day is shameful. I agree, Bad Bibby. Although I don't know if she's doing that. I think that may be libel. But I guess the libel is mutual, so that's fine. Okay, so before I get back to calls, Dean from North Carolina is coming up next. Let me just briefly talk about this no-knock warrant thing with Amir Locke of Minneapolis. I don't know. I don't even think that he lived at this place where he was sleeping, like on the couch or something like that. And I don't know why he had his gun with him. But the police got a no-knock warrant from a judge, right? I think it has to come from a judge for this place. And they were going for somebody else. But this guy had his gun in his hand. And oftentimes with no-knock raids, cops will still knock and announce. They still do it. But this Amir Locke, L-O-C-K-E, I told you yesterday in Hake News, the far-left female run outlet, The Skim, says, Minneapolis is mourning the death of Amir Locke. They didn't care about him when he was alive. 22-year-old black male, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Is that the same place where Breonna Taylor got killed? No, I think that was Louisiana or something like that. Louisville, I want to say, but I could be mistaken. But Minneapolis is where they got Georgia, Florida, and I think they got some other guy who they said, taser, 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 blam. Yeah, Louisville, Kentucky for Breonna Taylor. And it was a no-knock raid, but they knocked and announced. They changed it to knock and announce. And they shouldn't have done that. I think some say, Officer Brandon Tatum states, and that was for a drug dealer. So you could say that maybe that would, I don't know if in AZZMADOR's opinion that would have been justified. But Brandon Tatum, the former cop, he's black, but he's a pretty honest guy, states that no-knock raids are safer in these cases because you don't have time to react, so they just, boom, get to it. Whereas when they knocked and announced, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend sleeping in with her boyfriend, who also may have been into bad stuff. She seemed to have been into cahoots with her ex-boyfriend, who was the drug dealer. Seemed to even continue after they broke up. I don't know. But you know how people nowadays are so weak. When they break up, they don't really break up. Terrible. But police were carrying out last week a no-knock raid in Minneapolis, Minnesota. After police entered, they shot and killed Amir Locke, 22-year-old black male, appeared to be sleeping on a couch. Body cam shows it all unfolded in a matter of seconds. When they entered the apartment, they say they saw, and I think I have a picture of this. Let's see. Amir Locke, I saw this in a, holding a gun. No-knock warrants. Amir Locke, Minneapolis. And you can see him there with the gun in his hand. Crazy. The flashlight shining on them. The TV's on, it looks like. Sleeping on the couch at his friend's house, apparently. What does that say? 6:48 in the morning? No, I don't know. I can't. Does that say 6:40? Is it like 7 o'clock in the morning? That's when they do the raids? Because they're still out at 3 a.m. or whatever? Crazy. But look at that. You see him with the gun. You got to be quick. You got to be quick, and you got to have nerves to know when to shoot, when not to shoot. Was that a good shoot? Some say it was a good shoot. Others say they murdered him. Murder. He black, shouldn't have been sleeping on the couch, right? No. Locke's so-called family says that he owned that gun legally. I don't know if he was whatever. I'm not going to show the video. He died later at the hospital. Rest in peace, young man. Young, rest in peace, young N-word. There's a heaven full of peace, or for the G, for a G. I never get that right. I don't know if he's going to heaven or what. A SWAT team was searching for someone connected to a homicide in St. Paul. St. Paul, next door to Minneapolis. They had a no-knock warrant. Locke wasn't named in the warrant and didn't even live in the apartment. And they haven't released details of the warrant or said if Locke was connected to the investigation. So as you know, no-knock is a special kind of warrant. Officers can enter a property without announcing themselves, not to give people time to react, right? Became controversial by the SJW, BLM mainstream media types. Not by honest people, not by legitimate, like, reasonable men such as AZZMADOR or some of you guys. No, it's by the scum of the earth who pretend, oh, Breonna Taylor, this is racism. Breonna Taylor. That was justified. Her boyfriend shot at the cops and actually hit a cop. And they fired back. They killed her in her bed. That's a lie. She was not in her bed. What a mess, huh? They've become controversial because of high risk property damage. You know, you kick in a door. And sometimes they don't replace the door or pay for the door. That's not a good situation. But it's kind of like the old situation. It's kind of like the old wisdom shared by Jesus. To him who has, more will be given, but to him who does not have, even if what you have is going to be taken away from you. You know, those dummies, I was thinking about those dummies who live up in San Francisco. They open their cars all wide, roll the windows all the way down, have their trunks wide open, nothing in it, saying, don't steal from me. I have nothing in my vehicle. Because they just have accepted criminals running society up there. In America. Isn't that shocking? How they just leave the doors wide open. I saw it on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Crazy. Anyway, Jacob Frey is the non-Christian mayor of Minneapolis, and he suspended no-knock raids in Minneapolis. Pure evil. That's basically rolling over for the criminals to take over. And he's a criminal himself, so he's taken over, right? County Attorney's Office is investigating the shooting. Locke's mother has vowed to fight every day to make sure there is justice for her son. Breonna Taylor, justifiable shooting. The fake Justice Department has taken action. The federal Justice Department, which is not for actual justice. These are enemies of you and me, of the people. Taken action to limit the use of no-knock warrants. Congress failed to pass the national police reform legislation. Reform the blacks. Reform the... Don't quote Jesus, Hake. Why not? Anyway. Reform the allowing of the illegal aliens to come into the country. Jacob Frey is a big-time girly man. Yeah, he's a cross-country runner. Hey, what's your name? Venti Soy Latte. Go ask Jacob Frey for cross-country advice. He was a cross-country runner. And he's not a Christian, by the way. Mayor, I think he's about my age. Mayor of Minneapolis. He's basically the guy who runs Canada, part 2, but number 2. 20,000 to 80,000 no-knock warrants per year, some of which have turned deadly. I think that knock and announce in a lot of the cases is more dangerous. So, anyway, I will get back to your calls, guys. I want to, let's see. I want to talk about some other stuff going on first, though. Oh, yeah. These phony RINOs censured by other phony RINOs. You heard about this probably. Adam Kinzinger and Dick Cheney's daughter, Liz Cheney, they were censured by the RNC. Ooh, the RNC is pretending to be our friends. The friends of the real Americans. Adam Kinzinger, I don't know. And Liz Cheney, anti-Trump, anti-American phonies. Adam Kinzinger pretended to be a Tea Party guy, if I'm not mistaken. And Liz Cheney pretends to be a Republican. They are serving on the January 6th committee. And from what I understand, nervous Nancy Pelosi put them on the committee unilaterally. And they didn't even accept the RINO from Bakersfield, California, Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader. He's the House Minority Leader. Nervous Nancy is the House Speaker because the Democrats are the majority of the House of so-called representatives. And they have this unselect committee, January 6th, investigate the Capitol attack. Basically, smear Trump, smear the real Americans, smear the legitimate political protest that took place on January 6th. By and large, it was a mostly peaceful Capitol protest. Some of it turned into a little riot. But as the great MLK stated, a riot is the language of the oppressed. Oh no, a riot is the language of the unheard. Something like that. MLK said that. And that's what Black Lives Matter always says anytime they do a riot. And it's actually true in our case, because those people doing the riot, they're getting what they want. They're getting the attack on whites and the attack on cops. They are the establishment. I heard a guy named Jokol, Deep Left Jokol. One of you guys told me about him, and I was watching a video by him. He's a liberal Jewish guy. And he said that people, usually when you take to the streets, normally the civil rights so-called stuff, the women's march stuff, they take to the streets because or the so-called gay rights, gay pride parades, they take to the streets, or a military demonstration, they take to the streets because they've already won, quote unquote, in the worldly sense. But when the right-wingers try to take to the streets, they haven't won. Look at what happened with the Charlottesville situation. They had not won. And they got turned on by the corrupt cops who don't enforce the law and separate the attacker leftists from the defender right-wingers. Same thing with January 6th. So phony. What an evil world. What an evil world. So they attacked Trump. They hate Trump. They hate Americans. And so they called it a legitimate protest. But of course, the rioting is not legitimate protest. They had to kiss up to that. What a mess. Anyone supporting no-knock has been socialized Nazi. Repent, says Lord T. Gen. Well, I'm just going to say that in a world in which we have lost morals, am I misapplying this? John Adams stated something to the effect of, you can't have freedom without morality. And because the people are immoral, they're losing their rights. That's why the rights of the people are being trampled. Because the people are not moral. So they're able to be dominated. And in some cases, it's kind of justified. Militarization of the police, right? They complain about that because the criminals are getting more and more out of control and dangerous. You know what I mean? So you want your rights back and your freedoms back? Let's be moral. So, anyway, let me get to another call or two, guys. You know what, before, Dean, please hold on. I do want to get to you, but first I got to get to Jim in Maryland. He disagrees on no-knock warrants. First-time caller. Thank you, Dean. Jim, what's up?
Hake, I love you, man, but you're wrong on this one.
Okay.
Have you ever witnessed a no-knock warrant?
Don't think so. I've I've never witnessed.
It's the most terrifying thing I ever witnessed in my life, man. These police, they gang up in front of the door. They break it down into an unsuspecting family, and they have their way. And anybody that acts wrong, they shoot, and it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
So you witnessed? So you witnessed it?
Yeah,
firsthand.
I was going to court for my traffic ticket in unsavory neighborhood, and I witnessed it happen 6 a.m. or 5:30, 6 a.m. And it was the most disgusting scene I ever saw from my country in my life. There's a person that's sleeping with his babies and his baby mama. Who the fuck cares?
Hey, but, keep it clean, Jim.
They come inside, Jim, and they literally take control and shoot
hold on,
anyone.
Jim.
Okay.
Keep it clean. Did you hear me?
I can do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Oh, did you turn me down?
No, I told you to keep it clean.
Yeah, I understand that.
All right.
I'm sorry.
You kept on going, so I wasn't sure
about it.
You kept going, so I wasn't sure that you heard me. You're passionate about it? You felt
a little bit.
You felt sorry for the blacks?
I think it was my first witness of the police state before there was a George W. Bush.
Oh, it was in the late 90s or something?
There were still burnout buildings for Martin Luther King in D.C. neighborhood, Hake.
Yeah.
But the ones that were inhabited got the battering ram, and I saw 40 cops run into one house and gunfire, and it made no sense at all to me, Hake. It's not the way we do things. It was an invasion from an invading army. And anybody that defends no-knock warrants don't understand that aspect of it. Until you witness one, you can't understand that it's just police state gone awry. They have all power once they can have a no-knock warrant. You've lost rights. Even if you're
you don't know the context.
Child in the way.
Hold on, man.
Go ahead.
But you don't know the context. You don't know what kind of people that so-called family, and it was not a family. You just
I don't care. I really don't care, James.
Because
they can wait.
How can you say that?
Whomever.
Hold on, man. How can you say that there's no justification if you don't know what the justification was?
Okay, all right. They're killing somebody behind those closed doors. I didn't know. I gather what your little thing is, but
yeah, I'm just saying you're talking about the police state, but we have a black crime situation that's way out of control.
And no-knock warrants are not going to solve the black crime state.
But it's going to certainly. I mean, that's how you fight it a little bit.
What it does,
it's a tool in fighting it.
What it does is solidify the anger against cops.
No, man. What solidifies... Nuh-uh. No.
You're wrong.
No, what solidifies the anger against cops is kissing up to the Black Lives Matter mess, which I'm not saying you're doing, but that's what the establishment's doing.
That's true, too. Hey, that's another avenue, but no-knock warrants are... I will never forget witnessing that.
I know, but you don't. But you judged it as wrong when you didn't even know the whole situation.
It's absolutely wrong. No, it doesn't matter the context unless there was somebody suffering behind that door, and that wasn't the case. Of course,
you don't know this case. You literally don't know what was going on behind those closed doors.
You know what? I don't care. It was an invasion in my country without warrant.
I know, but those people are not your countrymen. Those people are enemies.
No, they were my fellow American citizens. You don't know that. That the police state has the right to go and invade their home, and then anybody that okay, fine, I'm tipsy. Apparently,
what in the world? They said you've been drinking.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, don't.
I'm emotional about it. Hey, that was like watching that transpire.
Yeah.
Was like a memorable moment, and they shot people, and it was unnecessary.
How do you know it was unnecessary?
Because they were innocent people they shot, Hake.
How do you know they were innocent?
I will tell you. I'll go find it for you, Hake, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, do if you can, because I don't... blacks will say anything.
Well,
They'll
you know
say,
what?
"Oh, they were
You know what,
innocent.
Hank?
He didn't do nothing." They say it all the time.
That isn't what I'm talking about. He didn't do nothing was amongst other people that really didn't do nothing.
That's
Do you
their
understand
fault.
that? When you go into
That's
someone's
not
home,
that's
you're
not the
going
cop's fault.
into,
Hold on, man. That's not the cop's
when you
fault that
go into
he's.
someone's
Hold
home,
on, man.
you're going into.
Hold on,
Okay,
man.
fine.
It's not
No,
the cop's.
you need to.
Put him on hold. Is he drunk? Mr. Anderson says caller is 10 times more American than Hake right now. What's un-American is letting the crime get out of control, and that is true. AZZMADOR states that if they didn't let this crime get out of control, then they wouldn't have to resort to this stuff so frequently. Maybe they literally have a warrant, says Miss M.R. Jennings. I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, let me put Jim back on. You're back on, Jim.
Oh, I'm allowed to talk now?
Yeah. Are you drunk, though?
Okay. Hake.
Are you drunk?
When you put... No, I'm not. Okay?
Okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Fine.
All right. Take care, Jim.
You know
Appreciate
what?
it.
You know what, Hake?
Yeah.
You don't want to hear me. You're not listening.
I listened to you. You didn't give me a clear answer. You kept on making all these judgments
I'm
about...
telling you, when you put guns in police hands and they're going into a no-knock warrant situation, they're all on fire. And you're going into someone's home where people are sleeping and they wake up in the midst of what's going on. No one knows. They're creating a situation that was unnecessary, and you can't see that.
No, the black criminals...
No.
Hold on, man.
It's not the blacks. It's the cops.
Listen to me. Let me respond.
No, you listen to me.
I listened to you already. You're
you
blaming
didn't.
the cops, but for the black crime.
No. There's no reason to intrude someone's home to get them into custody.
How do you know?
I know that because he's got to come out sometime.
Oh, gosh. That's lame, man. So the
You
cops
know what?
just have
You're
to
lame.
stake out?
Okay, hey? You're lame then. If you can't see that.
How old are you?
You think I need to go in and intrude on his children to get him?
Yeah, sometimes.
You think I need to shoot his children, anybody that gets in the way, to get him?
They don't have to shoot the children and anyone who gets in the way. You're making it into this drama thing.
They don't need to no-knock warrant him.
No-knock warrants are safer in many
No-knock
cases.
warrant is an invasion of the army of the police state.
I know, and you have a police state because the crime is out of control, and they have to deal with it like that.
And you can deal with it other ways other than, you know what? You know where he lives.
You're talking
you know where
like a
his
woman.
kids are. You don't need to go in and kill them.
Nobody said to kill them. A no-knock warrant isn't necessarily killing.
You're saying it's okay because of the blacks. That's all I heard from you.
Because the blacks are out of control, and that's how you don't tie the hands.
Blacks are out of control.
You don't tie the hands of the cops in order to deal with the criminals.
No, it's not tying hands of the cops.
Yes, it is.
To not give them no-knock warrants. It's not.
You give
You're
them,
wrong.
okay, we're hanging out
We could
outside.
disagree
You gotta
on
hang
this,
out.
Hake.
You gotta come out some point. No.
Yeah. Damn right, Hake. No
Nope.
shit, Hake.
Okay, I hung up on him. Sorry, guys. Sorry, kids. Sorry, adults. Hake, they have too much overreach and no accountability. They play fast and loose with these warrants. I don't know. Police is communist. Hake is wrong for this. We drunk. We about to call Hake. Anyway, caller has a good point too, says Danny. When they come in and there is movement, they can kill you, your family, and call it a mistake. Hake is wrong, in my opinion. Let's see. I'm trying to read the people who are disagreeing with me with actual sober points. I'm trying to read the sober points because I'm not sure if I believe that he is not drunk. But thank you, man. Appreciate your call. I had to hang up on you because you were cussing. Let's see. Ledge Klinger with the super chat. Hake, people like your caller Jim make me glad we still use no-knocks in some instances. He sounds like the kind of dude who would fight police when he knows he broke the law. He represents the embarrassing side of white America. AZZMADOR states, there have been several cases in Texas where no-knock raids were served and cops were shot or shot at. The homeowner was acquitted because they had every reason to believe it was a home invasion. Wow. So, crazy stuff. What a mess. Let me get to William in California. William, what's up, man?
Good morning, James. How you doing?
Oh, Dean, I promised to get to you next. Dean, hang on, man. Good morning.
Am I on?
Yeah, you are.
Are we really talking about this? This caller before me, let me enlighten you on something. If you got my daughter hostage, 6 years old, with some nutcase, you better not knock. Okay? No knock is for the safety of the officers. But I see this generation doesn't give a damn about officer safety. Because officer safety is your safety. In case in point, if you're not selling drugs, you don't need any kind of warrant.
Huh.
Let's think about that.
What do you
James.
mean? If you're not selling drugs, you don't need any kind of warrant. You're saying that the
You
cops
don't
won't get a warrant on you?
Sell drugs out of your house if you don't need any kind of warrant if you ain't doing nothing to break the law.
Meaning the cops are not going to get any kind of warrant on you.
They're not coming, James.
Hopefully not.
So they're not knocking on your door with a no knock. They're not knocking on my door with it. I'm not even concerned with anything like that. But if you have my child hostage, do you think I want you to knock? I want you to kick the door in. And anybody who's talking about the battle ram and what this overreach is with the police, you need to move to Russia and see what kind of no knock they give you.
Yeah, I mean, part of the ploy, they mentioned communism. Part of the ploy with communism or the destruction of society is clamping down on the law-abiding and then letting the criminals go wild and letting chaos reign in society. So we're begging for more government help.
Why do you think they have a no-knock? Breonna Taylor. There's 13 million reasons why you haven't heard from her mother. Okay, $13 million lawsuit. But here's the deal. Breonna Taylor was sleeping with a drug dealer,
right?
Who actually opened fire.
Was he a drug dealer too?
Both of the guys were drug dealers.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. I wasn't sure. AZZMADOR states with the super chat though. Hold on, William.
Both of them.
AZZMADOR states with the super chat, William is being silly. There's no warrant required when someone is being held hostage. When someone's life is in danger, that's called...
I give you that.
Yeah, it's called exigent circumstances. EXIGENT. No warrant or knocking required. Yeah. So they're talking about it.
That one.
There's other situations where no knocks are used.
Okay.
Some people dispute it.
To AZZMADOR, I give you that. I'm not being silly. I was being extreme. How about this, AZZMADOR? You're selling drugs. They got a warrant. Why should they knock? Why should they? Let's think about it. Why should they? Would you knock if you were a cop, AZZMADOR? And I agree with AZZMADOR on a lot of things, but here's the deal, AZZMADOR.
You don't have to keep on addressing him. Just deal with what
Okay,
what
I
you're
like
saying.
AZZMADOR, but I'm just throwing this out there. Here's the deal. I'm not, and the last caller, this goes to him, and it's not making it personal. I'm black, and I don't need you standing up for me talking about, no, it's not the blacks. I don't need you to take up for me, for you to get a black card, okay? I agree with the comment he made about the hostage situation. Yeah, that's different. I got to give you that. But if you're selling drugs, they need a no-knock warrant. They're trying to catch these people. So what is this anti-police? We don't want them to overreach. You don't want them to overreach. Don't sell dope.
It's getting worse than that, though, man. I do sympathize with their side a little bit because they're clamping down on us for owning guns or whatever, you know? So it's
I get it.
It's a messed up society for sure.
But see, I get these white callers. I've seen a lot of white people seem to want to take up us black people. We don't need you to take up for us.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to being obviously wrong. We don't need you to speak up for me for you to get a black card.
AZZMADOR did state crack houses were an exception in his original super chat where he's talking about crack houses and terrorists.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
I agree with him.
Other than
100%.
that, other hardened criminals, if they're just, he doesn't think that they should be doing it willy-nilly like they
I don't know where that's coming from because you're talking about some pretty bad actors.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what are you talking about here? For the police to knock on the door with really, really bad people to give them a chance to retaliate against our peace officers? What are we coming to here?
It's a crazy situation. We got to return to morals, man.
And then no. See, they must be thinking about the black people that was mentioned yesterday, preaching to them in the projects. That's where the Israelites like to go, to the weakest black people that are not making it.
They also shout at the whites.
People, no, hold on. The weakest black people are the ones that have to listen to all these sidewalk preachers.
Yeah, and they get seduced.
So you can't get this black man with that.
Yeah.
Because I got strength inside of me that tells that is smart enough to tell you need to get lost.
I gotta keep moving, William.
You can't throw no scriptures on William.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, man. You too.
All right.
Bye. A quick super chat. There's one line open, guys. I will get to your calls. We will get to your calls. Bad Bibby 42 states there is a reason why no-knock warrants are issued. They don't just go to a random person's house all willy-nilly and have their way with innocent people. Don't do crime, Jimbo. How about that? Yeah. Anyway, I promised and broke my promise to get to Dean next. So here's Dean from North Carolina. What's up, Dean? Are you there? Dean, come off mute. Dean. North Carolina, it's the boonies. Oh, let me put Dean back on hold. So, we're at 5 minutes till the top of the hour. Let me just share with you. Yesterday we were talking about, I keep on wanting to call him phony or sleazy or sleepy, groveling Joe Rogan. Apologize, wants the people to like him. Check on Dean for me, Nick, when you can. Revolver News says Donald Trump has a friendly but brutal word of advice for Joe Rogan, my competitor. That podcast host, CNN calls him a comedian, and he is into comedy. That's why that's much of the reason why he said the N-word and knows the N-word is because all the black comedians, sometimes they call their output N-word stuff. Like I think William from California pointed out. That guy who was in Superman 3, I'm talking about the one from the 80s or 90s with Christopher Reeve. Who's that black? He was vulgar in his stand-up, but he wasn't that vulgar in Superman 3. He was just this bumbling black guy. He had a whole output called Richard Pryor. Yeah, thank you, Base America First. He had a whole album or something called N-word. Something like that. Crazy N-word. Anyway, Joe Rogan apologized because he said the N-word and he's white. Apologized for being white. The Columbia Bugle tweeted this out. Great advice for Joe Rogan from President Trump. It's also on Telegram. t.me/real_Donald J. Trump. Our real president, our greatest living president states, Joe Rogan is an interesting and popular guy. But he's got to stop apologizing to the fake news and the radical left maniacs and lunatics. How many ways can you say you're sorry? Joe, as in Joe Rogan, just go and do what you do so well and don't let them make you look weak and frightened. That's not you and it never will be. Isn't that love? Is that not love? So, right on, Trump. I'm going to get to some weaker people who are not friends of Joe Rogan. And Trump is being a friend to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan endorsed Bernie Sanders. Pathetic. Pathetic. And he also had Andrew Yang on, and Andrew Yang's weak too. But anyway, let me try back with Dean and see if Dean is here. Dean in North Carolina, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Nice. What's up?
Nice. Oh, not much, bro. Just the whole knock thing, bro. They're not knocking. They're coming to bang.
Bang on the door, even if they do knock?
Yeah, they're not coming to knock on the door and say, hey, we're here. No, they're coming to bang and flash. I've been in them. My house has been raided before.
Really?
Absolutely, bro. It was the most exhilarating thing I've ever been through in my life.
Oh, gosh.
Besides walking with God.
You sound kind of like me. I'd be like, ooh, that's exciting.
Bro, it was. Let me tell you. Wow.
Terrible.
But anyways, and I was walking in the food line yesterday, and I noticed this sign off to the side in the little like foyer as you walk in, and it said International Associate Program. And I didn't really look into it, but I was just wondering if you ever heard of that or anything like that.
Repeat the name of the program?
I think it said International Associate Program.
Sounds communist. If
right?
any organization has a vague name, usually that organization, occasionally not, such as
Right.
Center for Immigration Studies, that one is okay, but that's not even that vague. But others are, when it's vague, they're not to be trusted. Not to be trusted.
Right. And what it says is like basically like families in the community can sign up and know like these foreign people will like come and live with you and stuff. And I was just like, that's crazy.
Huh. Oh, okay. So
it's for the people in
yeah.
the community to sign up so these families can be flown in and live with you. And I live in rural North Carolina, bro. Like it's weird to see.
Wow.
And I'm not even like I drive home every day. I'm noticing these like a pack of these like 6, Mexican little like 19, 20-year-old boys that come from the Boone's Neck Market, and they're like walking with groceries and stuff. And I haven't seen it. It's like and it's just crazy to think that these grocery stores are actually the ones in on the deal.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't like that stuff.
I don't either. It kind of irked my nerves a little bit. I was just like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But,
No, they like foreign influence, and because these people don't have our values.
No, not at all.
And they want to have a diversity of values, meaning the degeneracy of values. Man, that's terrible.
It is. It really is.
Okay, well, I appreciate the tip on that, Dean. It's good to hear from you.
All right, brother. Y'all take it easy. And the only reason why I really thought about it is because y'all talk about the invasion and all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I went back a long time ago. I remember watching a documentary, and it was by that guy in Texas, Alex Jones, and it's called I think it was like Strategic Relocation or something like that. I think I mentioned this before, but he talks about how like the Texas highways and all our international highways have been bought by foreign countries.
I heard that
and they're
too.
They're going to use the highways to bring all these foreign armies up in here, and like we think of it as like an army invading, like marching. That's all the only visual that we have.
Yeah.
But it's slowly happening under the radar. And it's just all coming in under the radar, and eventually they're just going to and then take over the boat. Boom, next thing you know, 20 years from now, we're sitting back looking dumb.
Yeah. I mean, that's already happening. We're like
It is.
Feels like we're a joke. Most of the world is
we're
a
not
joke, though.
bro. Christ is standing an army up, bro. We're not here to fall back to any of that, dude. It's going to happen.
All right. Well, thanks again,
all right,
Dean.
brother.
Take care.
Later.
All right. There's one line open, guys. A lot of people want to talk. Eric, a first-time caller from San Diego, says, I was a victim of no-knock. AZZMADOR on the line. A couple of guys with Black History Month contributions and Black Hebrew Israelite stuff. Hang tight, callers. I will get to you. But first, I want to share an item of music. Is this music? Is it noise? This is Hollydrift from the 2004 album on Parasomnic Records called Waiting for the Tiller. And I believe he is a Christian or was a Christian or something like that. Matthias Anderson. He is Hollydrift. And this is the first track on the album, Marisa Relay. Enjoy, and I'll be back for hour 2. Hang tight.
expressed a desire to see my samples of school paper in order to give you the opportunity.
Isn't this nice?
To look it over. I have sent
devil music
today by express.
Hey, this is like a nightmare.
A full line of this paper.
The rig.
I shall be at your office.
What kind of horror movie is this?
To answer any question.
Demonic? No, it's Christian.
You may ask about it. And also to quote prices.
Hey, you need to chill out with this type of music.
That you will be interested enough in this fine paper
What the heck, Hake?
to place at least a trial
What
court.
the?
If you do, I feel sure that you will be pleased with it. Yours very truly.
No one is as good as Hake at bad music, states Mr. Anderson. This song has a lot of bass. When does the song start? Well, guys, I thank you for bearing with me through that music. I actually really like this album. Hollydrift, Waiting for the Tiller. And I actually liked it, states Ashley. Well, thank you. I admire Hake's courage to play this, says Seasal. Catchy song. It'll be stuck in my head all day. Well, guys, it wasn't devilish necessarily. Maybe it was. Okay. But music is the language of the devil, they say. I hear that Lucifer was the so-called worship music leader. That's what they say. So watch out. Okay. Anyway. Let me get to Eric, a first-time caller in San Diego, before I get to The Rock and sleazy Andrew Yang. He needs to be shipped back to Taiwan. Eric, a first-time caller in San Diego. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Hake?
Hey.
I love that music. It reminds me of when I used to listen to industrial techno in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Stuff like Censured, Avallone, and, all that crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, I actually am against the no-knock warrant. I think it's an invasion of someone's home. Now, I understand if there's a crime in progress,
right.
They're chasing somebody.
In that case, that's not even a warrant. That's exigent circumstances, as pointed out by AZZMADOR, yeah.
Right. But if they find out, look, this person might be involved in a crime or whatever, and they just say, we're going to bust in there and we're going to get them, you're catching somebody by surprise. They don't know that you're a police officer, nor should they be expected to. And I actually, if that gentleman that had been killed, and I don't know that he's a gentleman, and I'm not standing for him. He might be the scum of the earth, but I do stand for his rights to have his safety and ability to protect himself in his own house. And if he had shot those police officers, that's a self-defense shooting.
Right.
He has the right to defend himself. Now, this actually happened to me. I was described maybe as a victim. I didn't use that terminology. I just said that it happened to me.
Yeah.
It was before I quit drinking. I was passed out in my bed at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And a couple of officers woke me up pointing assault rifles at me. And, whoa, that's something to wake up to when you're drunk and stoned, right? And unfortunately, I have a pretty calm demeanor. And they just asked me, are you so-and-so? And I said, no. And they said, do you have any firearms in the house? And I said, no.
Wow. So they actually went to the wrong house, like the Alaska guy. Did they go to the wrong house or what?
They did go to the wrong house. A dispensary down the street had been robbed at gunpoint, and they were looking for this person. I left my back sliding door open. They came in that way, and I woke up to assault rifles being pointed at me. One thing I knew is no abrupt movements.
Yeah.
Treat them with respect. I did that, and I didn't get shot.
So that case is not a case of a no-knock necessarily. They just waltzed right in the door because they were searching for someone.
And that was a crime in progress, and that's why I don't describe myself as a victim. I do believe in the police out there protecting our safety.
I don't think that that's their job to protect our safety so much as to enforce the law and arrest criminals.
The law, yeah. But I think we have laws ultimately to protect our rights. Our rights to our own property, our own lives.
When they're on it, and when the men of the town are on it, it does it does end up being a net safety for us.
Right. That's the ultimate goal, is for people to be able to hold on to their rights to property, rights to their life, rights to their well-being. Now, when you're in your house, though, now I could have come out of that maybe from a bad dream It's my right to get screwed up in my house on any kind of drug I want, I think. And I could have come out of that whole thing with a bad disposition, and I might have had a firearm in my hand, and I could have shot one of them because I don't know who they are. Now, that just would have been self-defense shooting, I think. That's the way I see it. Now, definitely if it's a warrant situation where people are sitting behind desks, they're calling a judge or they're calling the police chief, and it's one of those things where they're going to mosey on over to somebody's house and bust in and catch somebody by surprise, you're taking it to another level as the police. You're actually becoming, I believe, the agent of a type of crime yourself. You are infringing upon somebody's American rights to their own household, and you got to just deal with it in an orderly fashion. Sit outside the house, knock on the door, say, "Are you so-and-so?" Have a bunch of police cars out there. Get ready for him when he comes out. But knocking into somebody's house, that's barbaric.
All right.
That's my opinion. But I love you guys. I saw you guys in Ramona.
Oh, nice. Great to meet you down there.
Right here, you guys. I was like, this is so cool. I'm seeing all of my favorite Jesse Lee Peterson guys all sitting here. Nick, Chris. I think the car wash guy was there.
Oh, yeah. Samuel, Mexican car wash boy. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, Eric. I appreciate it.
Yeah. God bless you guys.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All
right. Quickly, AZZMADOR in Texas on this subject, the no-knock raids. AZZMADOR, are you there? Hey.
Yes, I'm here. I have my opinion on the no-knock raids might surprise people who know my opinions on other things, but in almost every circumstance, I'm against them. And I'm against them because of the things that I've seen in my own life, in my own area, and across the country, and also because of my opinion of the police. To respond to some of what William was saying, I'm not defending blacks one bit. I don't do that. Blacks, the behavior of blacks is the pretext for all kinds of abuses that the government visits upon us. And if there's one thing as a white person that I think most white people should be fed up with, it is our rights and our constitutional guarantees being trodden upon with the excuse of all the black crime and so forth.
Right.
But the thing is, these no-knock raids are almost never, if you look at the numbers of them that they do, they're almost never justified by the circumstances. There was a very famous case about 11 or 12 years ago in Kaufman, Texas. And Kaufman, Texas is not some big metropolis. It's a little town in North Texas. And some guy, he was a white guy, if I recall correctly, and he was breaking the law. He was growing some marijuana plants in his house. And I'm against marijuana and all that, but there was never any indication that he was part of organized crime or a gang or anything like that. It's just some guy growing some pot plants in his house. But that was a big felony at the time.
Right.
And so they organized a no-knock raid, and at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they kicked in his door. It roused the guy awake, and he grabbed his rifle and started firing at the cops and hit a couple of them. I don't recall if any of them died or not. But, as soon as he realized they were cops, and this is the common thing that happens in a lot of these, as soon as he realized they were cops, he threw his weapon down and laid down on the ground and, I'm sorry, I thought you were a burglar.
Yeah.
And he was acquitted by a jury on every charge. The cops tried to, and the DA tried to light him up and send him away to prison forever, and they always do. This Breonna Taylor thing, that's a different thing. If you look at the circumstances of it, yeah, that's a different thing. Whether or not a no-knock, it wasn't a no-knock because they actually literally knocked, right?
Yep.
But there's another one that was a famous one that happened in San Antonio, and I looked it up and I found lots of stories on it. I can't remember, not that I can't remember it. None of them tell what the guy was, what the original thing was, why they were going in there. But it was an older guy. He was in his 50s, a guy named Perryman that lived around San Antonio somewhere, and he and his girlfriend lived in a house together, and they had been burglarized a couple of times recently. And so they had put up video surveillance, And his girlfriend wakes him up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, scared, because all she can see is a couple of dark figures crouching outside their front door about to break in. And she grabs a gun and runs and wakes him up and gives him the gun and says, they're breaking in again. And they bust in, and the guy wakes up. He thinks he's being burglarized again. He fires 4 shots off in their direction. He doesn't hit any of them. And as soon as he realizes they're cops, he throws his gun down and says, I'm sorry. And, of course, he gets charged with all these assaults on police officers, attempted murder police officers, and all that.
Yeah.
And he got acquitted of all those charges. And the problem with this is, and I'm sure you understand this, that most of the time, even if you're innocent, you're not going to get acquitted because of the power of the state against you. So when you see a certain number of people getting acquitted for this kind of thing, how many of them, get sent down the river?
Yeah.
But also, this thing about the police, always siding with the police, I don't agree with that. From what we've seen lately, okay, who is it? Who is it that protects Antifa and BLM while they burn your town down, but then will take any conservative who tries to stop them and charge them with felonies and throw them in jail and not where they don't get let out on bail?
I know.
Who is it that's up in Canada right now, in Ottawa, who is going around and shaking down people who are trying to bring fuel to the truckers so that the truckers and their families can stay warm in subarctic temperatures, and literally throwing people on the ground and arresting them for walking in with a jerry can full of diesel? Who is coming to other trucker protests at borders and so forth, where these people have every right to protest, and they're not burning cities down the way BLM does? Who is it that's coming dressed in SWAT gear and telling these truckers that if you don't move your trucks, we are going to arrest every one of you, we're going to charge you with felonies, we're going to tow your trucks, and we are going to seize your trucks. You will never get your trucks back. Who's doing that? Is this black criminals, or is this our law enforcement who's supposed to protect our constitutional rights?
Yeah, and that's why we can't be letting the corrupt people take over. I don't know what we can do about it. We're in a big mess.
The thing is, it's a real balancing act that, you have to have a certain amount of subtlety that you're thinking about it, because the police have great power. But the thing is, this claim that they serve the people is false. They serve whoever they work for. They serve
the politicians.
And that's the bad thing. That's why, in my opinion, the constitutional sheriff, the elected sheriff,
I like those guys.
The deputies,
oftentimes.
The deputies of the sheriff's department will treat you a lot better than the police who work for the politicians that are on the city council. I've had. In my own life, I had a problem with a deputy who was treating me wrong, who called me up at the house accusing me of something that I absolutely hadn't done and could prove that I hadn't done, and he got rude with me. I called the sheriff's department to file a complaint, and the sheriff himself got on the phone and cleared it all up. But when I hung up the phone, it was never a problem again.
Yeah.
Try that with the city police department or a federal police department. But yeah, I appreciate you letting me call in here. And no, I'm not going easy on the blacks, and I'm not trying to say that we don't need law and order, but I think that it's one of the most important things going back into the antiquity of Anglo-Saxon common law, that a man's home is his castle. And you got to remember that these people, for the most part, and like I said, crack houses, terror cells, okay, those could be an exception. But all these people who are getting these no-knock raids done on them, they are innocent until proven guilty.
Right. Yep. That's true. Well, I appreciate it, AZZMADOR. Thank you, man.
All right.
Take care. Okay, before I get back to calls, guys, I do have other people want on hold. Hang tight. I got to cover this silly thing about The Rock turning on his friend and on his so-called friend, Joe Rogan. This guy's phony, easy smile. Boring movies are a letdown. He turned weak on his so-called friend, Joe Rogan. What is he anyway? Hawaiian? Mixed? Barack Obama's brother? Global News reported a few days ago, February 4th, late last week, fans were divided after Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson shared his support. He was a pro wrestler back in the day, and now he's an actor. and he's all big, pumped up. He shared his support for Joe Rogan per Global News. So in a video before this N-word groveling apology video, Joe Rogan, my competitor, said on January 30th in an Instagram video that this was about the vaccine hype. He had interviewed guys saying there was one doctor or interesting guy who said, we have mass formation psychosis, which the fake news fact-checked and said there's no such thing. That's not in the DSM. That just means groupthink. It just means hype. It just means the women being afraid and the mainstream media appealing to that fear, and the men are too cowardly, and so they go along with it. What a mess, huh? Mass formation psychosis. And then they also talked, there was another guy, an expert, who disputed the vaccine hype, and he disputed the mainstream narrative, which they're just all too quick to jump to conclusions, it seems like, about alternative methods to treat this China virus thing, right? And so it was kind of controversial because the mainstream is all, you can only think one way, when they don't even know everything yet that there is to know about all of this stuff. They're still studying, for example, the ivermectin, horse dewormer stuff. They're still studying it. So anyway, Joe Rogan said on January 30th he would maybe, quote, maybe try harder to get people with differing opinions right after he had the controversial guests. And he's like, I agree with Spotify, saying this disputes the what is that phrase when, the expert consensus, the consensus of the public health experts. It's so mama, so babysitting. Like anytime you talk about flat earth or global warming or the vax mandates or the China virus or the election 2020, YouTube will put in a link to like either Google or Wikipedia saying, ooh, the election was on the up and up, and ooh, this or that. So phony, like trying to force you to believe what they want you to believe. It just makes you believe it less, honestly. So there's a bunch of musicians, or a few anyway. Joni Mitchell and Neil Young pulled their music from Spotify, the streaming service. Music and podcasts. Spotify, citing what Young called Rogan's vaccine disinformation. Spotify paid $100 million for my competitor to go exclusive on their podcast platform. That's Joe Rogan. Neil Young is the one lying, calling it disinformation. So anyway, in response to that video saying, we'll have people who disagree more. Because Joe Rogan books this stuff himself, right? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wrote as a comment on this IG video, great stuff here, brother. Perfectly articulated. And he said he looks forward to coming on one day and breaking out the tequila with you. These drunks. Apparently that's when phony people like this Don Winslow guy. Do I have the tweet by this Don Winslow guy? Let's see. I have it in the don't show section. This guy on tweeting to The Rock, this Don Winslow, liberal anti-Trump, if I remember correctly, writer, author. Dear The Rock, he tweeted this February 4th. I guess that was Friday. You're a hero to many people, and using your platform to defend Joe Rogan, a guy that used and laughed about using the N-word dozens of times, is a terrible use of your power. Have you actually listened to this man's many racist statements about black people? What a lying, sleazy person. Lying sleaze. I got that line from Batman, the animated series. What racist statements about black people has Joe Rogan ever said? Except when he laughed about Planet of the Apes. That was funny, though. It's not racist. It's funny. So Don Winslow might as well be Don Lemon. Same thing. They're both not morally straight, in my opinion, because to put out a statement like that, that's not morally straight. And so then this Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is being criticized for not being abusing his power for supporting his friend, he's like, oh, thanks. I didn't know that he said the N-word. in the past. I didn't know about that N-word video. Thank you, Don Winslow, you coward. Bunch of cowards, right? So then these centrist guys like Mike Cernovich and Jack Posobiec, guys like that, sort of mainstream, but also a little bit off the beaten path, if you will, not exactly establishment. They started pulling out instances of The Rock calling people trannies, as in transgenders, 11 years ago in 2011. He'll like respond. This was in the heyday of Twitter when you could just tweet at anybody. I remember hearing the guy from Nightwave Radio saying one point, you could just tweet at anybody and any celebrity and they may see your tweet and respond to you all snarky and hurt. And so The Rock did that too with some lady who's just some lady, like probably my age or younger, who said, oh, I used to be a fan of The Rock until I found out he was a jerk. She didn't say jerk. She said something bag, dirt bag, only she didn't say dirt. So he said, oh, well, your mom turns tricks or something like that. I don't know. He's all, oh, I have it. I used to be hashtag Team Bring It back in 2011. KDV said, I used to be Team Bring It until I learned the Rock is a dirtbag. She didn't say dirtbag. And then so The Rock responded, shh, don't be angry, Ms. Katie. It's not our fault you're turning T-word tranny tricks to put yourself through nursing school. Shh. And so people dug up tweets like that and instances of him being on, he used to be a professional wrestler back when he was less kiss-uppy. He would be like, The Rock says, WWF, WWE, I guess it was by that point, because he was newer. And so he pretended to speak Chinese, and they showed those videos. Oh, ting tong ding dong 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 da. And so he was being funny. But now they say, oh, he's such an evil person. There was one time that he knocked out a guy. He went overboard with hitting them with a chair with the fake pro wrestling stuff. And he hit him. He agreed to be hit 3 times, his coworker, but instead he hit his coworker like 12 times and maybe actually knocked him out, I heard. While his wife and children, this coworker's wife and children in the World Wrestling Entertainment, cried in the stands, put on a show of crying, and then left. But he actually knocked him out, I heard. But it's a tough sport. So he's fake and he's phony and he's kissing up and pandering to the phony attacks on the whites, which is what this attack on Joe Rogan is, and on independent thinkers, and on free speech, and on fake racism thing. What a mess. And then before I get back to calls, guys, I will try to make it quick. Lines are full. And then there's Andrew Yang, weak Andrew Yang. You know how the so-called alt-right, some of them were on the Yang gang because they figure, oh, America's done anyway. Might as well have free money every month. $1,000 a month, free of charge, free money. Because Yang was like, and Yang has made statements sympathetic to the whites at times, but then he always apologizes because he wants to kiss up and be liked and he's weak of character. Right? So early Sunday morning, according to Fox News, Yang, oh, by the way, he tweeted on Twitter, we should have a statute of limitations on statements. Because Joe Rogan 12 years ago said the N-word. Anyway, so former presidential candidate, anchor baby from Taiwanese parents who came in here as like students, Andrew Yang, I call him an anchor baby, he defended Joe Rogan, according to The Hill, in a tweet on Sunday afternoon, claiming Joe Rogan is not racist. Nobody is. There's no such thing. Well, some people say that they are, but it's no big deal. After a video compilation of the podcast host repeatedly using the N-word surfaced this week, or last week, I don't think Joe Rogan is a racist. The man interacts with and works with black people literally all the time, Andrew Yang said in the since-deleted tweet against criticism that Joe Rogan is receiving. Do I know black friends of Joe's who would swear by him? Yes, I do, added Andrew Yang. Well, the headline, according to Fox News, is he deleted those tweets because it hurt people. Yang was a guest on Joe Rogan's My Competitors podcast back in 2019. So then he tweeted again, like multiple times, the whole thread, apologizing for his tweet that was reasonable if you're going to believe in the anti-white notion of racism, right? And then so he tweeted, I like to believe the best of people, especially if I've met and spent time with that person. Did you know that Andrew Yang was going to come on the Jesse Lee Peterson show or the Fallen State? Until it came out, I think his handler canceled it because JLP said, that guy should be shipped back to China or wherever he came from. Taiwanese. He's Anchor Baby. He was born in New York City. It doesn't make him American. He has non-American ideas. So he's all, I like to believe the best of people, especially if I've met and spent time with that person. Sometimes it makes me miss something. I think we should have the capacity to forgive people, whether a podcaster or a mayor, if they mess up. Maybe it's because I mess up too. This guy tried to run for mayor of New York City, and I think he's referring to Eric Adams, who called white fellow cops crackers. Andrew Yang said, racism is real. No, it's not. Deep, corrosive, and even lethal. I know that. I made a mistake in an earlier tweet that downplayed these realities. This guy cried because he imagined his daughter getting shot with guns, and so that was his excuse for being against the Second Amendment, I think. And then he goes on, I deleted the tweet because it was wrong-headed. It also hurt people, which is never my intent. I'm sorry. I'm learning to appreciate those who reached out to express their feelings. This guy expressed his feelings, leave him alone. Or tell them to eat it. Anyway, he's all, I like to believe the work I've done by the way, that I deleted it because it hurt people. He got 806 likes and 2,000 replies. That means he was ratioed in that dumb tweet. Anyway, he's all, I like to believe the work I've done these past years. By the way, this guy was kissed up to under the Obama administration as like an entrepreneur. So you know he's silly. They kiss up to the Asians. I like to believe the work I've done over these past years had the goal of uplifting everyone, particularly those on the outside looking in for any reason, be it poverty or marginalization or race. I've always wanted to help those people, those with the least, the most. Has he ever reached out to Daily Stormer, doesn't even have an internet in America? Huh? I'm going to keep doing all I can for a more fair, equitable, and just country. That means for everyone. Universal basic income, that's free money stuff. Democracy reform and unity are how we get there. Okay, mama, you're just weak. You think like a woman, you're not going to establish unity that way. You have to have toughness. Am I right? Stand by. That's what Trump was unifying and electrifying when he stood by what he said that was true. These people don't have that depth of character. Anyway. I'm chuckling because Final Frontier says, whatever, take his candy back to China. Anyway, thank you guys for bearing with me through that. I got to get to Rick in Hampton, Virginia. Rick, thank you for holding. What's up?
My brother James, man, love you guys. What's going on?
Not much, just hanging out.
Cool, man. How the weather in L.A.?
Oh, my gosh. It's over 80 degrees this week, supposedly. Oh, my gosh. And it's February, which is sometimes the coldest month of the year, it feels like, I think.
You would think, yeah. I know up here it is. In Hampton, VA it is.
Global warming is real.
Because it's 40 degrees, 48 degrees here.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I can handle that. That's good winter to me, though, James.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I called for, I was talking about that Minnesota shooting.
Yeah. Amir Locke, the no-knock raid where the guy pretended to be asleep, but he had a gun, a pistol.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people don't understand, James. No knock warrants are needed at times, you know. And here's my thing: even if they had the police had the wrong address, so the police had the wrong address. They had 15
No, I don't know if they
officers.
had. Are you talking about Amir Locke? I think I don't. What I understand is he did not live at the location that they were raiding. He was sleeping over, apparently. They may have had the right address, but he was not the guy that they were looking for.
Right. Now, that's what I heard, too. I heard something similar to that story, and I'm waiting for Brother Brandon Tatum to come out with the story.
Yeah.
The police
I do like to hear his takes, because he used to be a cop, and yeah.
I don't usually speak on it until I get all the facts. But what I have gotten so far was that the police had the wrong address, and he was there. Now, my point is, too, James, even if the police have the wrong address, you got 15 police officers. Everybody screams at the top of their lungs, police, get down. How you not know who they are?
Yeah.
You know, and I hear a lot of people say, oh, you're waking up with deep sleep. I said, not me. Number one, gun safety. Don't shoot at nothing you cannot identify.
Yeah.
You know how many people violate that gun rule when you go hunting? They tell you, if you can't see it, I don't care if you hear it right in the bushes. You can't see it, you better not squeeze that trigger.
Right, because you could shoot a fellow hunter or
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why. That's one of the top two gun stages. Treat a gun like it's loaded is number one.
Yeah.
And number two, don't ever shoot at nothing you cannot identify.
Nice.
You know, and
got to have nerves of steel, but we're not making men with nerves of steel anymore. Some of us are. Some people are.
I wonder, was he sleeping with the gun in his hand?
You know what? I think that he had I have no idea, but I could picture him sleeping with the gun close to him. If he was living in Minneapolis, is not the safest. Some of the neighborhoods of Minneapolis, probably not the safest.
Now, I can see you sleep with it on your nightstand, but if you sleeping...
He was sleeping on the couch. He was sleeping on the couch, and I think there was an ottoman, meaning the little couch footstool thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
My thing is, if that ever happened, I would like to tell everybody that's listening, if you are in your room sleeping and the police knock in your door, you got 15, 20 police officers, best thing to do is put your hands on your head, let them see your hands. Don't move until they secure the scene.
Right.
You know, real talk. I mean, because if you start reaching, they go, hey, we are taught that hands kill.
Right.
So if you're reaching, well, if we concerned, you're trying to get a weapon and spray us.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's anybody. If you in your bedroom and the police knock in your door, put your hands up where they can clearly see them.
You know, this is really a local situation. The only reason that we're hearing about it is because the national mainstream media and politicians want to meddle in the affairs of the local cops. It's a local situation. The locals should handle it. We shouldn't even be hearing about this story. But he's black, and they want to smear the cops in the name of the black thing. So the feds have no... I don't think that... Maybe the feds have a right if it's like a violation of the Fourth Amendment, right? The unlawful search and seizure or something like that. Maybe.
Right.
Maybe the feds can do that, but these are not... The feds who are getting involved are not the honest feds. Are there any honest feds? These are enemies of America. These are enemies of the blacks and the whites and everybody else.
Right.
So.
And they probably trying to help Biden get some kind of rating going.
I know. I mean, they do these raids on Trump supporters for being at the January 6th mostly peaceful protests. So,
exactly my point.
Ridiculous. Anyway, thanks, man. Appreciate it, Rick.
No problem, James. Love y'all, brothers. Keep up the good work.
All right. Take care. Man. Cynthia, first-time caller in Washington. How are you doing, Cynthia?
Hi, I'm doing well. I'm calling regarding the no-knock warrant.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
So I I'm American as apple pie, but my family and my heritage were from Mexico. So, and my family came here legally, obviously. So, like you were saying a couple minutes ago, the media and I don't know who else is doing this, putting this attention on cops to smear, like you said, to smear cops.
Right.
I can tell you, and these are things that I've seen myself. I didn't hear or read about them. No, I can only speak from my personal experience. And Mexico, I really wish that people, Americans can be so spoiled, and I know people in the chat is going to hate me, but Americans can be so spoiled. People in Mexico pray for a government like we have in the United States. They pray for a police force like we have in the United States. I literally know right now the little town where my family comes from in Mexico, in Sonora, the cartels and crime criminals are running rampant.
Yeah.
They just saw a guy with a gun with blood smeared on his face, and this is like on the streets that I know personally. You can try and call the cops. They're never coming. The cops are not coming. You can try and get help. Nothing is going to get done. If somebody, a person got carjacked in the middle of the day with a gun to their face, they arrested him finally, and the judge let him go, the criminal, because they're bought and paid for. Pues they're not.
Yeah. I've heard this. They're corrupt.
Uh-huh.
You can just bribe them.
Yes. Yeah. No, and they tell the judge, we're going to kill you, we're going to kill your family if you don't let him go or if you don't let me go, and they let them go. Nothing happens. Like, if you're not a criminal, you shouldn't be worried about the no-knock warrant, about whatever. Nothing's going to happen to you. Even if they do, let's say we're humans, they make a mistake. Even if they do raid your house, act right. Don't act like a criminal. Like the other guy said, be calm, no sir, yes sir, and you're going to be fine. But we have it so good in the United States, and the cops, 99.99% of cops are amazing, and I think they're doing this to bring the lawlessness and the crime that's in Mexico to bring it to the United States. They're trying to make the United States into Mexico. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's what's happening, is the cops are getting more and more corrupt as the people get more and more corrupt. And a lot of the Hispanics who come up here, they act like the cops are as corrupt up here as they are down there. And many of them are getting into the police forces. And so they're not the most honest people. And so society is just degrading. But you're right.
Yes.
Mexico is such a mess.
It's horrible. You cannot imagine.
When my mother was growing up, her brothers would go down to Mexico, and they would tell stories of people they would get stopped or something, and they would have to bribe the officers just to let them back up into America. So it's a bad situation, and it's been bad for decades.
And it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
And we don't know how good we have it here with the cops, with the government, with the elected officials. Maybe they make a mistake once or twice or whatever, but nothing compared to how other countries are. The ex-whole countries, like Trump said, they really are that. And people dream of coming to the United States because we do have cops. We do have some sort of semblance, of justice. And for people, Americans, to say, oh, my constitutional rights, yeah, I get it. But you have to let the cops do their job, too.
Yeah, we're losing that high-trust society that we once had. And I think it's because of this just endless attack on the whites and the endless mass immigration stuff from people who don't really have our values or any values at all, What a shame.
Any values at all, exactly. Because I do know a lot of Mexicans, since we've seen the horrors of what a lawless country is, we appreciate the United States, and we appreciate, the laws and the systems that are in place. We appreciate that. But yeah, a lot of Mexicans, that's true. A lot of Mexicans in a fallen state or whatever, they're blind.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the children of conservatives end up going liberal because of whatever reason, the weakness of the parents, the corruption of the society, the corruption of the schools and the so-called churches. Yeah. And the social media establishment is so bad. It's just meant to like inundate you with this brainwashing about, oh, racism and sexism and all that stuff. It's terrible. I appreciate it, Cynthia. Good to hear from you.
Thank you, Hake. You're
All
doing
right.
a great job. Bye.
Appreciate it. Take care. Man, let me get to Justin in Fullerton, California. Justin, go for it.
Hey, how you doing today?
Doing well. You're coming in a little muffled. Stay close to your phone and be on regular phone.
Regular phone, yeah.
That sounds good. Thank you. Go for it.
Okay, so I was calling about the other topics that I had in my mind, but then I got really interested in what the no-knock warrant issue is bringing about. Like, there's benefits, and there's also horrible consequences for failed. What's a good way to explain it? Failed plans. You know what I mean? You can either raid, have a sting operation, use the SWAT kind of mentality to do something, or if it does not constitute, you know. So that's my reason I call this. Do you think, what would be the rationale or what would justify having to do that? Oh, here.
I haven't thought that deeply about it because I'm not making the decisions about it. But what makes sense to me is what over there on Odyssey, AZZMADOR stated about the definitely like places where crimes are ongoing, like trap houses where they're doing, where it's basically a druggy house or a gang house or a terrorist house, terrorist cell. The gangs, the drugs, drug organization, the organized crime stuff. Those are instances where I think that they should. Now they're just kind of redefining terrorism to be anybody who's Christian or doesn't hate white people. So I'm a little bit leery about the terrorism thing. But actual terrorism where people are actually committing acts of violence and murder in the name of politics, like the Antifa and Black Lives Matter, those people, if they're doing the crazier ones, some of the ones who are former either Black Hebrew Israelites who turned away from their version of Christianity into being terrorists, or a lot of former Nation of Islam types, those guys turn into cop killers at times, or they kill Malcolm X or whatever. Those people should not get that fair warning. Oh, we're coming in. Make sure you go sneak out the back door. Whatever. Or make sure you kill us as soon as we knock on the door. Give me a break.
Yeah, like I would think that they're not going in as a judge and executioner, but that can occur.
Right,
you know,
people can die in a crazy situation. Yep.
But I'm more concerned. I thought really in depth with this because I was thinking something totally different, and this just, I don't know. It's a really interesting topic that I don't think is being discussed. I know it's a local issue, but I don't think it even affects necessarily blacks more than whites or whatever. I think or Hispanics, or I think what it would affect is poor people, and this is because of my experience with apartments. You know, I grew up in a trailer park in a different state. Came to California, and I lived in a lot of apartments. And then I grew up, made some money, and you know, a house is different than an apartment. So here's what I'm trying to say: when they come in and they shoot a bullet through, a human body, sometimes it goes through a wall.
Right.
And it can kill some other person, a kid or someone sleeping. So even security guards, and we're in my industry where we work, we do not allow them to have a weapon because they're not bonded. It's $1 million bond to have. Anyways, and so I think, from my experience, when we try to get the terrorist cells out over here, I can't say the city or disclose details where I was at, but this was back 2003. I had some terrorist-type person being presented to us with a photograph from the undercovers, and they wanted us to coordinate so management could open the door, get a key, and say, here you go. But that's not as wise as what we came up with, which was, and I don't know what terror cell, it was ISIS or Allah Akbar type, but it had an Arabic writing. His head was shaved. He looked like a Hispanic, though. And the undercovers were like, we can go in if you let us pose as maintenance. So I recommend all police, law enforcement, get swift and wise about what they're doing. No need to kill or have an accident or spend a lot of money on some big operation. 2 guys go in with the usual maintenance, or 1 guy goes in with the usual maintenance, look like they're doing a smoke detector check. Bingo, bango. They find what they need. There's no weapons. There's no, right? It's all clear, all clear. Then their threat level is a little lowered, and then they can do their job. And we did that for the prostitutes that live there. We also did that for the drug dealers that were there.
Wow.
And we cut off the head, the tail, all that shit. And excuse my language, but we cleared out all of the things that were evil at our community, and it finally became a family community. And I was pretty proud about that. You know, we did things in a smart way.
All right. I don't know, man. Maybe. I appreciate it, man.
Just a little food for thought. Thanks for bringing up the consciousness, and have a good day.
All right, you too, Justin. Take care. Guys, I want to, we're less than 10 minutes till. I want to get to all the callers, but first, I have to share a passage from the Bible. I meant to cover this after I saw it in, you know how I was talking about Satan is the god of this world? So claimed Paul once in the Bible, and so everybody, like the Christians, just ran with it. Well, this is from 2 Corinthians chapter 4. I have the beginning of it screenshotted for you, but I wanted to read it to you because it was an interesting passage. I like it. This is from Paul, right? Writing in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses. I'm going to probably read the whole thing if I can. Here it is. From Bible Gateway, the King James Version, for the King James Version only people, which I am not, but whatever. Therefore, seeing that we have this ministry, as we have received mercy, we faint not. But we have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of God deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of God. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them who are lost, in whom the god of this world, which they say Satan is, has blinded the minds of them who believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, would shine unto them. Isn't that interesting? That's how it is. People are just blind. For we preach not ourselves, but Christ Jesus as Lord, and ourselves your servants for Jesus' sake. For God, who commanded the light to shine out of the darkness, has shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, meaning human beings, I guess, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not from us. They call it jars of clay. That's where Jars of Clay, remember that 90s band? That's where they got their thing. But they're liberals. Don't listen to them. Or you can listen to them, but don't pay attention to what they say because they're dumb. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. Always bearing about in the body of the dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our body. For which we live, for we which live are always delivered unto death for Jesus' sake, that life also of Jesus might be manifested in our mortal flesh. So death works in us, but life in you. We have the same spirit of faith, according as it was written, as I believed, and therefore I have spoken. We also believe and therefore speak. Knowing he who raised Jesus from the dead shall raise up us also by Jesus and shall present us with you. For all things are for your sake, the abundance of grace might through thanksgiving be of many be redound to the glory of God. For which cause we faint not, but through our inward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed every day. Outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed every day. Isn't that nice? For our light affliction, which is but only for a moment, they call it light and momentary pain, works for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. While we look not at the things that are seen, but for the things that are not seen, for the things that are seen are temporary, but the things that are not seen are eternal. Isn't that cool? Maybe you understood it. Some of it I did not quite understand. But I thought it was a nice passage. A classic passage. Thought I would share that with you. And quickly, I have to share this with you because up in Canada, they're going after the fathers. Hang tight, callers. Fathers versus evil judges and mothers and Canada. This is a totally different situation from the one I reported from like the 14th of January. An unvaccinated father up in Quebec or Quebec lost the right to see his child. He's like, oh, I want to see my child more over the holidays. And then the mothers saw on social media that he was not vaccinated because he was dumb enough to say on social media that he's not vaccinated. And so they took away the right to see his son or child. What a shame, huh? Well, it happened again, and it's happening more and more. Unvaccinated New Brunswick father loses custody of his at-risk child. His child has like these tumors, non-cancerous tumors growing in her blood, I think. 10 years old. This female judge, Natalie Godbout, of the Court of Queen's bench, wrote that she ruled with a heavy heart to take away the child from the dad, only give to the mother. The parents separated back in 2019 and agreed to share custody of the 3 children. But nope, fickle woman changes her mind, the female baby mama. What a shame, huh? The breakup of the family, and then the judges are meddling and tearing apart the families. What an evil situation. And it's happening more and more. And the ruling is getting welcomed by these lawyers who want this stuff to happen. Some of them are not for it. They're saying that the China virus and the vaccination situation is being used as a weapon to deny access to the children. Mean, nasty, vindictive people. So evil, huh? So sick. And then there's this sick woman who is a mother, but she's separated from the father. And she has like Crohn's disease or something like that. And so she's saying the father should get vaccinated to protect the 3-year-old because the 3-year-old could catch the virus. 3-year-olds are not at risk, particularly from this virus. She's scared for herself because she may catch it from the daughter or the little 3-year-old. What a mess, huh? Terrible situation. Turning the country catering to the females. Mark in Santa Monica, we have about a couple of minutes. Thanks for holding, man. What's up?
Yes, sir. In the hour or so that I've been waiting, I've had the TV on mute, and all you see are race mixing commercials. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
They've got one
forcing it on
where
people.
the Negro. They got it's actually a tax commercial. Do your taxes, where a Negro spits coffee into a white man's face. I don't know if you've seen that disgusting evil, but it's the social justice warriors who have gotten jobs at these corporations that are poisoning the American culture with these rotten commercials. You ought to just do an hour-long commercial, an hour-long segment on these devils. But
Thank you, man.
I
got to run, man. I appreciate it, Mark. It's good to hear from you. Take care. Last super chats, guys. I have just a minute to go. I had to run. Bad Bibby 42 states, there's a lot of weird things that happened in the Breonna Taylor's life. For instance, the dead body that was found in her rental car. Is that true? I know that I thought that it was associated with the murder, but I didn't know that the dead body was found there. Coincidence? She was involved with a lot of bad activities, and sooner or later it catches up with you. He says William is right. Lorena H. says, hi, Hake, great show. Well, appreciate it, Lorena H. Lin Yen Chin states, just my usual blah, 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 word salad, as my haters call it, where their missing sapience is claimed to be my content missing context. I have no friends equals all is well, says Lin Yen Chin. Well, I appreciate it, Lin Yen Chin. It's nice to hear from you. A lot of people say that. Okay, guys, this has been the Hake Report. I shall catch you hopefully tomorrow. Take care.